Hey everyone, it's Rhonda here from Nelson's Soapery. Today is a gorgeous day. Well, I should say it was a gorgeous day, but now it is raining. But that's okay, it's still quite warm here in Melbourne, Australia. It is midweek, and I thought let's make some beautiful frangipani and coconut soap. So in my little glass container you can see here, I have my fragrance oils all mixed up, and I'm only using a very small amount of fragrance oils today in this because frangipani does not allow it to be a higher percentage. Some frangipanis will only allow you to have about 2%. So you do need to double check on that. And I'm also going to be adding in some oats. I've got my glasses here, and of course I have my stick blender as well. My stick blender is really annoying at the moment. It is playing up. I'm pretty sure that it's had its day, and I definitely need to get a new one, but it's been very, very kind to me. It has made thousands and thousands of bars of soap, so I think I need to invest in another one as well. But anyway, we'll pop on my glasses, and now let's start to get everything organized for this gorgeous soap. Of course, prior to doing the colours, I need to add in the lye. I had pre-made the lye the day before, so I'm just pouring it through this sieve. You don't need to do that, but sometimes lye that sits there uncovered will just have little lye bits in it. It doesn't hurt the soap, it's fine, but you know, I just prefer to get them out if I can. It's just some little lye ash, but don't worry about it too much. Just burp your stick blender. All that is tapping it on the bottom, and it just allows the air bubbles to come out. If you don't do that, it's no big deal, honestly. I know that it's a big thing a lot of people do, but sometimes I've forgotten, and it really hasn't done that much damage to my soap. It really hasn't left many air bubbles as well. Now, why I'm making this, I thought there's something I'll talk about. I have a little Braun stick blender here that you can use, and what I do is just do bursts first, and then what I do is just stir it, you know, like it's a spoon. And because what you're going to do is you want to mix it from the bottom up. There's no good just mixing the bottom or not the middle or not the top. You do need to make sure you're mixing it, especially when you've got a big mixture of 2 kilos or more. You definitely need to mix more. And in the past, when I first started doing big batches, what I would do is I would just mix it, and I'd think, oh, that's good enough. You know, I really thought it was mixed. And then what was happening is I was getting chalky bits where the lye wasn't mixed in the middle of my mixture. So you really need to do that because you want all the consistency to be the same. You want to make sure that your lye is totally mixed in, and you will notice the minute you cut it, you will notice if it is lye heavy. You honestly don't even need to do a zap test, even though I would advise you to do it, but you don't need to do that. You will honestly see it straight away. It will look chalky, it won't look right, and you will just know. And the one thing too that I thought is really interesting that no one talks about is soap making is not that easy. I know it looks easy because you just mix the ingredients like a cake, but there's other things. It's not just about mixing, it's making sure that it's safe for your customers to use. If it's not safe and you think it is lye heavy, my advice is to throw it straight in the garbage. Do not try and rebatch it because safety is paramount when you're selling a product. And of course, you don't want to be sued. So that's the main thing that I would 100% tell you. And that is something that I've definitely lived by myself. And, you know, that's my living rule of soap making, and I really do think it is a great rule. Of course, I should have had an apron on, shouldn't I? Because, look, I have already spilt it and ruined my new top. But, you know, that's just the way it is. A lot of my tops are now stained, so I don't stress too much about it. So all I'm doing now is just pouring it off into 4 jugs because the bottom of this, I wanted it to sort of have like that rusty kind of orangey sandy colour. And then I'm going to just do like a green and blue and pour that through the top. But I'm not going to be too fussy about it. When I first started making this, I thought, let's make sort of a surfy, beachy soap. But then I started making it and thought, no, it just doesn't look like that, and so on. So anyway, this is why I started doing this bit that you can see me doing now, and I was really glad I did because it's not a fragrance I would have thought about doing before, but I do think it's going to smell really, really gorgeous. I do actually have 3 different scents in it, and I do mix a lot of my scents, so don't just buy one off the shelf and use it. You can definitely mix your own blends. It's not hard at all. Just try and make sure that when you're mixing it, when you go onto your suppliers' websites, they will just have like sort of ratings of your fragrances. So try and use a similar rating one. That's what I do, and that way it works out quite well. Now I'm just going to mix all of my colours here. So this one that I'm mixing is a yellow oxide. So an oxide is actually just a more of a natural colorant. It's more of an earthy mineral type colorant. And then this one I'm doing here is a colour from Sud Off. So this particular colour is called Spring Fling. And I really do love this colour. It's kind of a rusty sort of goldy type colour. So hopefully this adds some dimension to my soap. And I definitely noticed when I was doing this soap, and I'm like, my fingers are crossed, honestly, for a good result, because I did sort of notice as I was going along, I think I should have mixed this particular bit a little bit more, but as I always say, what can you do once it's done? You know, done is done, isn't it? So, but anyway, we'll see how it's going to turn out anyway. I'm sure it will be fine. But the one thing, like I said earlier on, you can definitely notice if your stick blender is starting to go, or because it will feel really hot as well. And it means the motor is just working way too hard. And I mean, this stick blender has made a lot of soap. For a $79 stick blender, I could never complain. It has used thousands and thousands of bars of soap it's actually made. But anyway, I'll use it a couple more times, but I definitely think I will go and grab a new one, and I may be on the hunt for something super good. We'll see how I go, won't we? Won't be a KitchenAid. I can't afford one of those, but we'll find something nice. So all I'm going to do, like I said, is mix this, and then what I am doing with this main thing is I'm really just doing it in the pot swirl, which means I'm just literally pouring in my mixes, my colours, straight into the base. So the base, I've just added some titanium dioxide, and then of course I'm going to be adding in the yellow oxide colour that we already mixed, and the Spring Fling that we already mixed as well. And then all you can do, you don't have to mix this. You can fold it over a little bit, but you don't have to. And then I'm going to just pour this into my slab mould. This slab mould comes from Vinny. He actually sells them, and he is on Etsy. He's an Australian maker of these, and he does a really fine job. I really do love it. I'm glad that I paid the money for one. I've always wanted one, but never had the funds to do it. But anyway, I thought, look, I just have to do it, and I did make enough money at markets and so on to be able to get one of these, which is going to be really, really handy for all of the new molds that I'm trying to, or soaps that I'm trying to come up with, because I do have quite a lot on the go, and I am selling out really fast. So if you are a wholesaler watching, a retailer wanting to buy wholesale from me, just do remember that as much as I try to have them in stock, sometimes I just can't. They seem to just be going faster than I can make them. I'm making hundreds of bars every week, probably about 1,000 or more a week, but of course, you know, if everybody wants them, they sell, and I'm super excited that you guys love my product and think it's worthy to have in your gorgeous shops. So a little bit about that, I just thought I'd add that little bit in. And all I'm going to be doing is, like, I've literally done this bit, and then I did think to myself, do I actually leave this and then add the next layer on, so I separate my layer? But as I was going along, I thought, you know what, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to pour the next bit over the top with the blues and greens and just see how it comes across. I really do like it, and I just think it's something different to what I usually make. Usually I would do a lot more design, a lot more colours on it, but I think this is going to be a really beautiful soap, and I really do think people are going to love this soap. I didn't show this at the end of the video, and I'm sorry, but I also did add some little baby cornflowers on, but I will show you that later. I'll take a photo and pop that on the end, as well as some sparkly silver glitter, just to add something, a little bit of dimension to the top of my soap. So now let's get on to the next bit. So I do have my base in this big container, and I thought, look, I needed to really mix this up better, because I really did, as I said earlier, felt that it wasn't mixed well enough in the last bit. And, you know, as I said, once again, once you start to get to making bigger batches, you really have to train yourself to mix more, because obviously there is more volume in there than you had before. So before, sometimes I was only making batches of 1 kilogram, and now this one's 7 kilograms. So it does take a lot more. I know that my stick blender is dying, but it's not just about that. It's also, like I said, just about, you know, that there's just so much more liquid in here. So it does need to be mixed a little bit more. But anyway, I definitely did that. And then, of course, added in my fragrance. And when we're talking about fragrances, you don't need to add the full amount of what it says. You can add less. This one here has to have less because frangipani, as I think I said at the start, frangipani, you can't have as much, you know, of the fragrance because, you know, it states that you can only have up to 2% frangipani. So I'm also adding in some ground down oats in it, and that makes a really beautiful bar. I've really enjoyed using bars that I've made with some oats in, but if you do that, make sure they're really, really ground down. I actually buy mine, you know, ground down really, really well. So, but as I said, you know, it just makes a bit of a different bar, and I like to make things a little bit different, and I like to make ones that not everybody else would sort of have on the market. So, but anyway, like I said, we're going to keep mixing this one in, and then I will also mix the green and the blue. So the blue I am using is a cosmetic grade mica from Sud Off, and that one is called Smurfy Blue. And then I'm also going to be adding, using my aqua sort of color, also from Sud Off, and I really love this one. It's one of my favorite colors, and it's called Crystalline Teal. So it's a really light aqua, and it's kind of really beachy and surfy, which I love. I'm in Australia, and in Australia we love the beach. I'm really obsessed with the beach. I take my kids all the time. Not that I live close there. It's quite a drive, but I really do love it. So anyway, it just reminds me of that calming, gorgeous beach. So but anyway, let's get going, like I said, and let's get this all mixed up and make this one all gorgeous, and then we'll be on to the next step. So now I'm just getting onto my next colour. So of course I have taken off my little stick blender, and I often like to show you guys things that I do just so that you'll understand, and that's why I actually undid the stick blender so you could see exactly what I'm doing. So when you have a blender like this, which I never knew when I first started, there is actually two buttons, one on either side. So you just pinch in both buttons at the same time, and then you take off the top piece. And the reason that you would take the top piece off is it's too heavy, and it can actually tip the bucket over. And as we all know, making soap, soap is, you know, very, very strong. It can burn you before it's, you know, solidified. So that way, what we actually need to do is, you know, just take off the top piece. It's definitely safer to do that and pop it aside. And that way, you know, you're not going to knock the whole thing over. So that's why there is actually that button to take off. A lot of the cheaper ones from your department store, your $10 ones or $20 ones, they won't have that particular you know, thing in it. But I do advise, if you're going to make lots of soap or you're doing it for a business, try and get one with these safety buttons that you can just pull off as well. So what I'm doing now is I'm just doing my blue. So we're just going to be adding in this blue. As I said, this is surfy blue, and it's really, really gorgeous. If you want strong colors, you'd probably need to add maybe 2 tablespoons of each color. I only like to add 1 because I really just don't like mine to be, like, they are bright, but I just don't like them to be electric or rainbow bright, because I really think that somebody's using this on their body, and I just think sometimes less is more, but that's just a personal or a business decision as well. And one thing I was thinking here when I was actually doing this to tell you is it's really important to realize that some micas will actually thicken up your trace and some don't. And I definitely notice when I use Crystalline Teal, it definitely does thicken it up really, really fast. I don't know what it is, but it definitely does. And now what I'm doing here is I'm actually just mixing it up, and you can see it's like sort of thin custard. That's what it should be like. And then when you wiggle the spoon and drip it down, you should be able to see a little trace on top, and it will look sort of creamy. And then you know that it's ready, and it has a bit of a trace. You really don't want it to not have a trace, because then you're not sure whether it's mixed up well, especially if you're new to soap making. So, but you know, you do it your way, and see, you know, this is the way you learn as well. I mean, look, the thing is too, if you make a batch that doesn't work, don't think, oh no, I've messed it all up. What am I going to do? Just think of it as a learning experience, because I've learned so much from making ones that have fallen to pieces. I really have. So, you know, sometimes you do it and you think, oh no, I've wasted this whole thing. But sometimes it is a good thing, because it kind of teaches us, okay, that didn't work. Next time, how am I going to better what I'm doing? And if I can say for this one here, the thing I would do next time is definitely make sure I'm blending everything more, because I know my stick blender is not a happy chappy at the moment. So I do know that I need to keep blending until I definitely get to that really thin trace. Don't blend it too much until it's super thick either though, because that way then it's going to be just too hard to work with. And so all I'm doing here is just going to pour it straight over the top of the other one. I was going to kind of like put it on top, and then I thought, you know what, we're just going to mix this all together. It's going to be super fun, and we'll just see how this is going to turn out. And I think it looks really, really cute. It's not going to be a super bright one that I would usually make, but I think it's still going to be a really, really gorgeous soap. And the smell of this is absolutely divine. I mean, I just love it. I love the smell of frangipani. But this one has, I've actually got frangipani. Then I've put some coconut in it. And then I've also put one, just a very, very tiny bit though, of like a men's aftershave scent in it as well, which that one I really like. So it just kind of has that little bit of a savoury scent, I guess, on top of, you know, the really sweet scents, and that just kind of breaks it and makes that beautiful, just those beautiful notes come through as well. So because not everyone loves sweet scents, you do have to think of, you know, especially if you're a business, making something that no one else has done, and just think, okay, how can I do this? What else can I add into it? You know, just make sure that you're a little bit unique and different. So I'll scrape out my whole bucket, of course, because we don't want anything left, because that's a real pain to clean when there's too much left in the bucket. And then this is pretty much all I'm going to do, except for pop a chopstick through maybe. Just give it a quick swirl, and that's really it. And then look how gorgeous it's going to look. So, of course, I will bring all of you back at the end of my video, because, of course, at the end, I'm going to cut it. So this will go for over a couple of days. And while I'm on here talking about all these different things, I thought I would actually share something with you. I've had lots and lots of people ask me, you know, how long does it take to edit? You know, how does monetizing work on YouTube? The one thing I'll say is, honestly, putting videos on YouTube like I do is pretty much a full-time job. I do at least 2 hours a day of either videoing, editing, you know, creating my thumbnails, all of the things. And there's lots of things in the background that you need to do as well. And monetizing takes months. It's taken me about 4.5 months all up just to get to the end of the monetizing. So that's something that I would say, yeah, it has taken me so long. But I thought I'd put that in because lots of people are asking me a little bit about that. So yeah, it's a long process, but if you do want to do YouTube, you need to make sure that, you know, you're consistent and you're coming regularly, because no one wants to come and watch one video a month. They want to see more and learn more. But I do also think that my channel has been successful because I like to give away my recipes as well. So I do think that has been a really big thing, you know, of me being successful. For those of you that wanted to know, you know, how I've come to this and, you know, why I think I'm successful on it. I mean, I'm still a really bubsy channel, but I really do think, you know, lots of you guys want recipes. You want to be able to start and make stuff, and it's really hard when you don't know how to formulate a recipe. So by me giving it to you, you sort of all the hard work's taken out. You can just take the recipe, have a go and practice and see how it goes. So I hope that's answered everyone's question, and I hope me giving the recipes is really helpful, and, you know, it's something that you guys are really loving. Anyway, I will end this little bit here, but I will come back tomorrow, which will be on the video in just a second, of me cutting the soap. So I thought I would just give it a little bit more of a texture on top, and then of course I'm going to add the little cornflowers that I did previously talk about. And this is the thing, you know, you kind of just work with it and you'll sort of start to go, oh no, I've got a different idea, and then that's exactly what you'll do at the end of the soap. So I did forget to do the massive cut, but I've popped in some images for you. So this is how once it's actually sliced into its little bars. And then last but definitely not least, this is the end, of course, of the bars. So look how gorgeous they look. They're really, really pretty. So if you love my video, make sure you give me a massive thumbs up and do give me a comment, because I always love to hear what you guys have to say. And of course, I will start to see you on my next video. I need to get ready with some wholesale orders, but you will see me very soon. Bye for now.